I'm the founder and chief soap artist at the Bath Place, and I'm just a regular old Eastern North Carolina.
Dressed at work.
Don't we all feel like this on days? Everything's on fire. Nobody's listening to us. Our coworkers driving us insane. Exploding head syndrome is a common cause of absenteeism at work. Okay, again, I get, we're not going to explode, but we sure do feel that way some days. So, what can you do to better manage stress? First of all, rest assured you are not alone. On any given day, there are plenty of people in this building that feel that way. You're stressed at work, you're stressed taking care of your family, you're not alone. I can't stress enough. Take time to yourself to breathe, to just be able to say, I got this. One of the biggest things you can do to help your coworkers is when you see them getting for the exploding head syndrome, take over them for a few minutes. Just say, I got this, you go ahead and go on break, I'll take care of Mrs. Smith, I know this is the 20th time you've been in here. Or, I'm going to go grab those water pitchers and finish the dishes because I can see you're about ready to explode. Whatever we need to do, we got to help each other. And know it's okay to ask for help. On any given day, we might not all be able to do everything that we need to get done. I know the old adage is leave your personal life at the door. Well, you know what? Our personal life comes with us. We can't stress on it while we're at work, but it never goes away. It's right there in the back of your mind if something's going on at home. Focus on good things and positive acts of kindness. You know, when you're really stressed and somebody comes in and helps you, instead of focusing on how stressed you are, focus that this person came in and helped you. Focus on the person who left you out in traffic on your way to work this morning. Whatever it is, focus on, even if it's the one good thing out of 20 that happened that day, focus on that instead of all the negative. Find a mantra. I think this is really important. This is a marathon, not a sprint. What a great mantra. I just have to get through today. Be where your feet are. Meaning, I am right here doing an in-service for all of you. I have 20 things on my desk. I have things I have to do when I get home. I have all this stuff. But right now, I'm right here doing this. I have endured whatever. An 8-hour shift at work, whatever. I can weather the storm. Just for today, I'm going to take things one day at a time. Worrying about what's going to happen tonight, tomorrow, next week, although we have to prepare, worrying is not going to get us anywhere. These are terrible times, but we'll get through it. Whatever your mantra is, find yourself a mantra. Stay informed, use reliable sources. If you're worried about current events or COVID or whatever, make sure you get your information from places that have good information. Focus on what you can do and accept the things that you can't. Working in healthcare, like working retail, but every single customer is hungry, in pain, sleep deprived, and has expectations on par with the services at a 7-star resort. Also, everything is beeping. So yes. My boss told me to have a good day, so I went home. We can't do that. We all think it some days, but we can't. When you're stressed, you eat ice cream, cake, chocolate, sweets. Why? Because stress spelled backwards is desserts. Of course. Explains a lot, doesn't it? Remember our why. Why do we get up at any point in the day and we come to work at Shook Home? And it's because of these folks. This was true last year, but it's a million times more true this year. We are their people. We are their family. We are the people they see every day. They are the people that bring them their food, clean their room, take care of what they need. There are why. They're the reason that we all choose to work in a nursing home instead of saying, hi, welcome to Walmart. We want to take care of these folks and be sure that they have the best quality of life that they can. Now, this last video is not on abuse and neglect, but I challenge you that if we could do this.
Could escape.
In the spring of 2013, I had the pleasure of coming to Australia twice thanks to Alzheimer's.
Oh, it's on
You said okay, so-
the last one, yeah. Oh, it's still not up, Josh. I didn't do anything. I thought this would be so easy.
In the spring of 2013, I had the pleasure of coming to Australia twice thanks to Alzheimer's Australia, which was hosting an exhibit of my photographs of high-quality Alzheimer's care in 7 countries. During that time, I met with many people, one of whom was a woman named Daniela Greenwood, who was working with a corporation named ArCare to change the culture of care from one in which they were already extremely successful, but to one in which relationships came really to the forefront. Changes that have been recommended for many years but have not been implemented in very many places. I asked if I could have the opportunity to visit one of those places, and I was allowed to come to Helensvale this year when I came back again to photograph for 5 days, and it met all my expectations and more.
We believe that developing open and respectful relationships between families, staff and residents is the most important thing we do.
So the environment in residential care really has 2 parts. The first part is the physical environment. Well, the physical environment for Helensvale was already perfect as far as I could see. So the second part of the environment that's so crucial in residential senior care is the human environment, and that's where the redesign began to take place. Through visionary leadership at the top corporate levels, new ideas were introduced about the crucial nature of relationship between staff and resident. The understanding that without cultivation of a close and caring relationship that was as rewarding for staff as it was for residents, there would be no high quality care.
It's very easy to say we believe relationships are important and we really value them, but this company says we believe it's the most important thing we do.
It starts with, I suppose, myself as an individual coming to work each day and thinking, how can I affect somebody's life here? How can I do more of what people want to make them happy? Each person is trying to do that, and I feel that it's very contagious.
Talking to residents, talking to staff, talking to families about the things that really matter to them in terms of the improvements that we wanted to make. We heard the same thing from heaps of different people. It was all about relationships. When cleaners were complimented, whether it was in our compliment forms or when families spoke about them, it was never how well that they cleaned the rooms. It was about the relationships they developed with their mum. And even with the nurses and care staff and maintenance and gardening, it was all about the relationships between people.
And we get to know them more privately, don't we? So yes, we do. Not just on a kitchen hand person with a resi, it's getting put down personally with them.
So we we pretty early on realised we needed to focus on getting more of that and facilitating those relationships and the deepening of them for the good stuff to happen. And so the one thing we put in place that we knew would make the biggest difference to the way we operated was to stop rotating staff around. So it's a really simple model. We call it dedicated staffing because that implies a kind of commitment. But basically it is when staff come to work, they commit to working at least 3 shifts a week. And when they come here, they work with exactly the same residents every time.
Relationships between residents and the staff are really extraordinary because everybody goes way out to make sure that people are treated with respect, with dignity, helped to do things that they can't do, encouraged to do things that they can do.
And that building of relationships is where all the good stuff happens in terms of even understanding people who don't use words anymore. How do we know what they want on a day-to-day basis? How do we help them make choices? We do that because we get in relationships with them and staff get to know little nuances. I think Sally's really happy sleeping at the moment. I'm not going to wake her because I know her so well, and ensuring that we use every skill that we have to make sure we know what they want and don't want.
There are so many examples of things that they do. I think the one that sticks in my mind very, very strongly is the buddy program that they instituted as a completely voluntary thing by staff who wanted to get to know a resident better and have the resident know them better and feel really a friend and not just somebody who's in their care.
Judy took us different places, even to her home, and she cooked a nice meal, and it was good. We went to a park once and had fish and chips. And there was children running around and happy, and I was happy because they were happy.
And we ate with our fingers, didn't we?
And we ate with our fingers. Oh, yes, in the school holidays, and the mums were out there with the children. And I thought that was so nice.
There were several people that I spoke to, several people I photographed, and the one that probably stayed with me the most was a staff member, Caroline, who selected as the person she wanted for her buddy a man who had stopped using words perhaps 2 years ago.
I know it sounds silly, but probably Ernest chose me, maybe. I just, I'd never done this sort of work before, and I'd wanted to do it. And I don't know, I was just drawn to Ernest. I'd go home thinking what it'd be like to be in his position. And what he would be missing was probably human touch. Opens my heart, that's what he does.
Over the short time that I watched this, his hands relaxed. He allowed her to come into his space, and you could see that he was very much with her, even though he wasn't talking, that he was happy to have somebody with him and that they were together in the best sense of the word.
Yeah, I think we do have a special language, a special way of communicating, just not through words. Again, it's human touch. And it's just one human relating to another human.
It's difficult for most of us to do. Most of us rely on words and think that that's the only form of communication that's powerful. It was a pleasure to share that moment of connection between two people.
But I feel the blessed one. I feel the lucky one. All right, Ernest. You've taught me to be patient and wait, haven't you?
What you get out of being at the Buddies is I can't really explain. It makes me feel good inside when Faye and I are together, and I love it when Faye laughs. She's got a very loud laugh and I really love it. So I like to think that Faye participates in more activities so that when we meet in a fortnight, she's got things to talk about, which in turn makes me get up and go and do things and see things so that when I come, I've got things to contribute to the conversation. So it's not a one-way street with Faye and I.
As Beryl said when we were coming home, that by me taking them to my place, they can focus on where I live and what I do and what's in my house when I'm not at work. And we laugh.
Growing old is to be celebrated. It's such an achievement. And a natural part of being human is that we get old and we break down, whether that's physically, mentally. That's what happens if we're lucky enough to get old. And I think the idea that being old and vulnerable equates to being sick is a problem. Old people are vulnerable and they need clinical support and assistance, but that's one small part of what they need. The rest of it's called life.
Certain that we have the clinical aspects taken care of, but I always could see a void and a possibility of developing a program that would add to that and contribute to their sense of well-being, their sense of joy, and doing more of what makes everybody happy, not only the residents but the visitors, definitely the staff. So just creating a joyful, happy atmosphere every day, not one day or a special day, every day.
The best thing in the morning is the gym. I'm there for 1 full hour and I start that machine, the pedaling machine, the bicycle machine for 1 hour without stopping. But I haven't been doing it, I've been lazy the last 3 weeks, but I'll get back to it shortly.
In 2011 we decided to contribute to our wellness program and develop a Make-A-Wish project. We had 80% of the residents contribute, and with community assistance, with the great efforts of the team I have here individually, with financial support from ARCare, we as a team were able to see all of the wishes of residents come true for that year. So for example, there were extravagant wishes of cruising to Singapore. We had to modify that to cruising to North Stradbroke Island, which was just as fun for the residents. One resident was particularly missing her pet and just craved for a dog and wouldn't even leave her room. I was very fortunate through Guide Dogs Australia to acquire Palace, and just in perfect timing. So Palace was Audrey's best friend and just created so much joy for not only Audrey but for all of our members of our community.
My husband and I got married here at Helensvale. We met because of the residents on a bus outing. He was the entertainer. They thought he was fabulous. The courtyard is such a beautiful place that we wanted to do it here so all the residents could be part of it because they were the reason we met.
Along with our complimentary hydrotherapy program, we have the full aromatherapy programs, and we all are encouraged to use these spaces. Staff use the space as well when they need a bit of time out, and it's just a lovely quiet area of our home that people can use for their own benefit and add to their sense of well-being.
The ARCare residence at Helensvale is an absolutely beautiful facility filled with natural light, glass everywhere, plants outside that are beautifully kept and cared for. It's nothing like a sage idea.
No, absolutely.
Okay, well you get the idea here. And granted, I can't go through and we can't build a new building with all kinds of glass and all that kind of stuff, but the key to pick up is the relationships. What is the relationship that those folks are having with those residents? They are looking each day, how can I make a difference in this person's life as we go through our day? And I would say, looking at those pictures, there probably isn't much issues with abuse and neglect because everybody's so happy to be there, and they help each other. So I would just tell you, keep that in mind as we go through this. Remember our why. How we can even in small ways create an environment like that for our residents. And granted, that was all filmed pre-COVID and so forth, but each and every day. Any questions? Thank you all for what you do. Each piece that you play is really important. None of us would be able to get what we do without all of you. So, lunch directions?
It is lunchtime. You've got 30 minutes, so if you want to get out of here early, make sure you're back here by 12:35. We have pizzas back here and snacks, and remember there's drinks in the refrigerator.
Tammy was spiffing it up this year. I like that video, I found it. Yeah, absolutely. It makes a big difference.
I think you go and sit in the corner all the time.
Just the test. Yep.
Family members who work to stay with them.
Never seen anything like it.
A little after 11? No, she's
It certainly is. It certainly is.
Thank you for it.
Sure, thank you.
I like the choice of that last one.
I really like that one.
Yeah, that was great.
$1,000 in a 15-year-old system if we're going to replace in.
So I went off that, hey,
I
Kate was
understand.
really, they upset with it, what was that syndrome?
So how are you doing? Oh, don't worry.
Right up at you.
Oh, yeah, thanks. And Sam.
What? What?
It's just say okay.
No, I've learned, no, you don't say okay. Donda, I'll send those out here this week. They're supposed to come back at 12:35 for lunch. So I think I'm gonna be, I already showed fire safety, med flood. So I think at 12:30-ish, I'm gonna play the safety committee. So then Stacy will come over at 1 and do hers. And then, yeah, I'll be ahead of the meeting. Yep. Yep. Hi. While we're talking now.
Higher quality, I do want to show.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You have to do the answer. I feel stressed. You just relax and sit here and listen. I need to listen. This is a big thing. No.
So I would mention this. Yeah. So it's on the.
And then you're gonna have to extend the show here.
Oh.
I should probably get your phone number. I should get your phone number today.